all the poetry ever written.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang hadirin dan teman-teman sekalian. Yang kami hormati Prof. Ahmed S. BaHammam, yang kami hormati Dr. Aris Prasetyo M.Kes, yang kami hormati pula Ustadz Arief Maschun LCMA, serta panitia penyelenggara acara Qur'an Based Research Center pada tahun 2021, dan saudara-saudaraku sesama muslim yang kami cintai dan kami banggakan. Puji syukur, marilah senantiasa kita panjatkan atas kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Karena Allah lah kita masih bisa berjalan untuk datang di acara yang kita cintai ini. Sholawat serta salam tak henti-hentinya kita haturkan kepada junjungan kita, Nabi besar Muhammad SAW. Karena beliaulah merupakan suri teladan sebaik-baiknya suri teladan kita dalam berperilaku. Dan beliau jugalah penyempurna ajaran agama Islam sebagai rahmatan lil alamin. Baik, ada pun susunan acara yang akan kita lewati bersama-sama pada siang hari ini, yaitu sebagai berikut. Diawali dengan pembukaan, tilawah ayat suci Al-Qur'an, penyampaian materi dengan tema Sleep from An Islamic Perspective, dan diskusi panel. Sesi tanya-jawab, penyerahan sertifikat dan foto, dan diakhiri penutupan. Demikian susunan acara yang akan kita lalui bersama. Sebelum memulai acara selanjutnya, baiknya acara kita buka dengan lafaz basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Baik, untuk acara selanjutnya yaitu tilawah ayat suci Al-Qur'an. Kepada saudara Geska dipersilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna anzalna 'alaikal kitaba lin-nasi bil haqq. Faman ihtada falinafsihi ومن ضل فإنما يضل عليها وما أنت عليهم بوكيل الله يتوفى الأنفس حين موتها والتي لم تمت في منامها فيمسك التي قضى عليها الموت ويرسل الأخرى إلى أجل مسمى إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون أم اتخذوا من دون الله شفعاء قل أولو كانوا لا يملكون شيئا ولا يعقلون قل لله الشفاعة جميعا له ملك السماوات والأرض ثم إليه ترجعون صدق الله العظيم. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih saudara Geska. Sebelum ke acara inti, saya akan membacakan tata tertib acara pada siang hari ini. Kepada panitia yang bertugas, mohon bantuannya. Rules of discussion. Please rename your participant ID into the format participant_name. Example, participant_Abi. Please mute your microphone during the discussion, unless given permission by moderator. Please dress appropriately during the discussion. If you want to ask questions, please click on the link that will be set by the commit in the room chat feature or use raise hand feature if you want to ask orally. The moderator will ask several interesting questions due to time limit. Certificate will be distributed to participants who take part in the event from beginning till the end, and filling the feedback in the link that will be set in the end of discussion. If you find any difficulties during the discussion, please tell us through the room chat future or WhatsApp group. Baik, itulah tata tertib pada acara pada hari ini. Untuk selanjutnya, kita akan memasuki acara inti. Acara inti akan dibawakan oleh moderator. Sebelumnya, mohon izin untuk memperkenalkan moderator kita pada siang hari ini. Baik, moderator kita pada siang hari ini yaitu Pak Abdur Rohman, ST Master of Agribusiness, Doctor of Philosophy. Beliau merupakan dosen Environmental Engineering Universitas Jember. Beliau juga merupakan alumni Tafsir Center from Qur'anic Studies. Baik, untuk selanjutnya saya akan serahkan kepada Pak Abdur Rohman.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. May peace of Allah be upon all of us. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. All praises due to Allah. Alhamdulillah, today we have a chance to continue our important discussion on sleep, which is one of the main activities of every one of us in our life. And today's discussion is the second opportunity, because in the previous talk from Quran-based research center program, we also discussed some aspects of sleeps from Islamic perspective and from the medicine perspective, and we got important conclusions from the previous discussions. Among other is that the duration of sleep is very much important for the health of our body, especially for our memory. And from Islamic perspective also, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam shows us that he had really regular sleep every day, every night. And Islam also taught us how to prepare for our sleep. Today we will continue. We will go deeper in discussion about sleep from Islamic perspective, and Alhamdulillah, we have a distinguished lecturer, a distinguished Professor Ahmed BaHammam. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much, Professor Ahmed BaHammam, for accepting our invitation. Professor Ahmed BaHammam, he's an expert in sleep study. He's currently the director of the University Sleep Medicine Research Center and Sleep Medicine Fellowship Program, King Saud University, Saudi Arabia. And also he's professor of sleep medicine at the College of Medicine, King Saud University. Professor BaHammam did his specialization in pulmonary medicine, critical care medicine, and sleep medicine at the University of Manitoba, Canada, in the mid-1990s. And he also obtained the Royal College of Physicians of London and the American College of Physicians Fellowship. He was also awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award of King Saud University in 2016. Professor BaHammam is an expert with very rich experience with medical journal editorship for over 17 years. He's currently the editor-in-chief and associate editor and editorial board of several general and specialty medical journals, and a reviewer of top specialty journals. He was also nominated to the Sleep and Respiratory Neurobiology Planning Committee membership of the American Thoracic Society in 2018. And Professor BaHammam is a founding member of the Asian Society of Sleep Medicine. His research focused on several sleep-related topics, including obesity, hypoventilation syndrome, central hypersomnolence disorders, and the impact of intermittent fasting and mealtime on sleep and circadian rhythm. He has received several grants for his research, and he is also the author of more than 300 peer-reviewed articles and book chapters, and 2 books in the field of sleep medicine and sleep research. And currently he's the editor-in-chief of Nature and Science of Sleep journal. Professor BaHammam, Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Abdur.
Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khairan, ya.
Jazakallah khairan. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. It's really a great honor for us to have you as our guest, and we're really excited to learn from you. In the previous discussion, we also discussed some aspect of sleeps, and we hope that you would explain in deep on from a medical perspective and also from Islamic perspective. And after your session, we will have comments and some more explanation, some viewpoints from 2 of our panelists. One is Dr. Aris Prasetyo. He's the lecturer of Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Jember. And another panelist is Al-Ustad Arief Maschun. He is an expert in Tafsir, Al-Qur'an, and he holds a master degree of Syariah Islamiiyah from American Open University. So, Professor BaHammam, would you like to share something in the screen by yourself, or you need our help?
No, I will share, just if they can enable me to share from my side.
Okay.
Can you activate, please, the...
Yes,
allow me to share?
Yes. Tolong panitia Profesor Ahmed dijadikan co-host.
Yes, very good. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Abdur, and thank you for the invitation. It's a great honor to be with you today. Inshallah, in the coming, probably I will need 40 minutes. I'll try to make it shorter than that, to talk about sleep from an Islamic perspective. Then in the discussion, we can cover more topics because probably we will not have time to go through all of these things. The talk will be 2 parts. Part 1, sleep from an Islamic perspective, and part 2, a shorter part, will be medieval Islamic scholarship and writings on sleep, the Muslim scientists who wrote about sleep. These are 2 papers that we discussed this topic in depth. You can find them online, and I put here the title and the issue. They are available, they are open access. One of them is the Annals of Thoracic Medicine, the other one in Nature and Science of Sleep, Qur'anic insight into sleep and sleep from an Islamic perspective. If we have time, I will, in the discussion, I can talk about the recommendation for sleep duration. This is just published, a joint consensus statement of the Saudi Public Health on the recommended amount of physical activity, sedentary behavior, and sleep duration for healthy subjects. And in this recommendation, we discussed sleep in Ramadan, Fajr, prayer, and Qaylula, siesta, or nap in details, and what are the recommendations for optimal health. I will not cover it in my lecture, but if there is time in the discussion, we can talk about it, because then the talk will take a very long time. Sleep is one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of the Creator. And I have the ayahs written in Arabic, and I'll say it in English for non-Arabic speaking who understand English. One of the ayat says, and among his signs is your sleep by night and day, and you will search for his grace. Surely in this there are signs for people who listen. So always Qur'an will put sleep as one of the signs of the Creator subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ask us to observe and watch and listen to this sign and see the magic of sleep that Allah created in our bodies. What did we use in this lecture and in our previous publication? We discussed Islamic views of sleep based on Quran and Hadith, Sunnah, and the impact of these views on sleep and sleep habits in modern Muslims societies. For citation of the Quran, we refer to the chapter, surah, and verse. So you will find the number of surah, period, then the verse or ayah of Quran. And for citation of hadith, we refer to the book like Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and hadith number. So you can go to the source if you want to check it. For the Quran, we used an English translation that was approved by the Ministry of Islamic Affairs in Saudi Arabia and the Islamic University in Medina al-Munawwara. For hadith, we cite major books approved by the Ministry of Islamic Affairs in Saudi Arabia. These are the links that you can use. So the topics to be covered in part 1 of the talk will be types of sleep in the Quran, importance of sleep in Quran and Sunnah, sleep manners in Sunnah and Quran, naps, qaylula or siesta, circadian rhythm, and what's in Quran and Hadith about that, sleep and death, and this is one concept that is there in for Muslims, and Ashabul Kahf, the people companions of the cave, and then dreams. This is for part 1 of the talk. So types of sleep in the Quran. The word sleep and its derivatives appear 9 times in the Quran. In addition, different Arabic words are used to describe sleep in the Quran. We have the word sina. This word has been defined as slumber or dozing off or sleeping for a short period. And the ayah says, no slumber sinner can seize him subhanahu wa ta'ala, nor sleep. This is talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this sinner may correspond to the transition from wake to sleep, or what we call in sleep medicine stage 1 sleep, because sleep stages in sleep medicine are 4 stages: stage 1, 2, 3, which is the deep sleep, and then the dreaming stage, what we call the rapid eye movement sleep. So sina probably correspond to stage 1, identified by modern Muslim scientists. Then we have the word nu'as, and 2 verses in Quran use the word nu'as. This ayah, remember when he covered you with a slumber, nu'as, as a security from him. And the other one, then after the distress, he sent down security upon you. Slumber, nu'as, overtook a party of you, while another party was thinking about themselves as how to save their own selves. Because this ayah was sent to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, during Badr battle, when Muslims were scared because the number of the enemy is much more than their number. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put on them nu'as, slumber, and that make them more relaxed, and this is the ayah describe that. ثم أنزل عليكم بعد الغم أمنة نعاسا يغشى طائفة منكم. And the other ayah, إذ يغشيكم النعاس أمنة منه, the same concept. Recent medicine, or we can look to nu'as in this verse, implies a short nap, which may correspond to stage 1 and stage 2 sleep identified by modern sleep scientists. So nu'as is a stage after sinah, and it has been shown in recent medicine that a short nap can reduce stress and blood pressure, with the main changes in blood pressure occurring between the time of lights off and onset of stage 1. And this will go with the ayah, النُّعَاسَ أَمَنَةً مِّنْ, to give you security before the battle. Then we have the word ruqud. Ruqud, in our view, is the most appropriate definition is sleep for a long period, because this ruqud was used in Qur'an to describe the sleep of Ashabul Kahf, the companion of the cave, who slept for 300 years by Gregorian years and 309 years by Hijra years, by the moon years, or the lunar years. So, and you would have thought them awake, Ashab al-Kahf, whereas they were asleep, ruqud, so sleep for a long period. Then we have hujur. Hujur, this term describes pious believers who fear Allah. They used to sleep but little by night, hujur, and in the hours before dawn, they were found asking Allah for forgiveness. This word indicates sleep at night. Subat, the word subat is derived from the Arabic word sabt, which means disconnecting. So what we can understand from this ayah, and we made your sleep subat as a thing for rest. وَجَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ subata. So, and we made your subat as a thing for rest. Therefore, subat may be considered to be deep sleep, corresponding to the slow wave sleep identified by modern sleep scientists. So if we organize them all together, we may think of the progression of sleep stages in Qur'an, or sleep states, as sinah, nu'as, hujur, then subat, as the deep sleep. So this is the progression of the deeper stages of sleep. Now we'll move to the importance of sleep in Islam. The importance of sleep actually was not recognized until recently in recent medicine. And the importance was not recognized at all, and some people were thinking that sleep is waste of time. We spend around 1/3 of our life sleeping. So if someone lives for 60 years, he sleeps for 20 years. So that's very important part. Islam recognized that more than 1400 years ago. So Islam emphasizes the importance of getting enough sleep, and we have several hadiths. If any one of you, this is a hadith by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in Sahih al-Bukhari. If any one of you feels drowsy while praying, he should go to bed, sleep till his slumber is over. And another hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, offer prayers and also sleep at night as your body has right on you. So we know that Islam recognizes the importance of sleep for health long time ago, before the recent civilization and modern medicine. Once the Prophet, peace be upon him, entered the mosque and saw a robe hanging between its two pillars, he said, "What is this robe?" The people said, "This robe is for Zainab, who when she feels tired, holds it to keep standing for the prayer." The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Don't use it, remove the robe. You should pray as long as you feel active, and when you get tired, sleep." Now we'll move to talking about some of the sleep manners in Islam. I will not cover all of them. You will see more details in the papers if you go to, because of for the sake of time, I don't want to take much time talking. Early bedtime and early wake-up time have been emphasized in the practice of Islam. There is hadith by Prophet Muhammad in Sahih Bukhari. He says, peace be upon him, one should not sleep before the night prayer, which is Isha prayer, should not sleep before Isha prayer, nor have discussion after it. And you should not sit and meet and discuss with people after Isha prayer. That's time to go to sleep, encouraging people to go to sleep early. and Muslims are required to wake up for Fajr or dawn prayer at the time of dawn, which again encourages early awakening. So Islam encourages early sleep and early awakening, and these are the healthy practice. Again, I'm not going to talk about details, but the sleep pattern of Prophet Muhammad, being sleeping first part of the night and waking up for prayer, then going back to sleep until Fajr, new evidence suggests that this may be the healthy pattern of sleep to have a healthy life. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told his companion that early morning work is blessed by Allah. بورك لأمتي في بكورها. Early morning work is blessed by Allah. Prayer times also, they organize our sleep and they influence sleep. And we discuss this in more details in the paper, but in brief, following prayer time strictly influence sleep time and light exposure. And we know that light exposure is important for adjusting our biological clock and circadian rhythm. So make our body cells recognize day and night, because our bodies, they have daytime function. Our cells have daytime function and night functions. So when the cells by their biological clock know when it is day, when it is night, then they will know when to secrete day hormones, night hormones, when to do the functions of the day, the functions of the night. So light exposure is important. And when we wake up for dawn prayer, then we go to work after dawn when the sun rises. That's the time when we get exposed. So our body or our body clock will adjust, will be calibrated for the rest of the day, daily. Islamic prayer times were originally set according to the movement of the sun. And I will not discuss this, but you can read it later, like how the organization of the different prayers is related to the sun and the timing. The timing of prayers is mentioned collectively in the Qur'an, and one verse states, perform a salat prayer from midday till the darkness of the night, and this refers to Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha prayer, and recite the Qur'an in the early dawn, and this refers to Fajr prayer. Because of the interest of Muslims, because of the importance of prayers, Muslims in medieval ages, they have significant contribution to the development of the astrolabes, quadrants, and sundials, all evolved and developed in Islamic countries. And the main motive behind this development was to maintain the prayer time, to follow it strictly. And this helped the Western civilization later with the development of different inventions. We'll talk about sleep position. We know that in Sunnah, it's encouraged to start sleeping on the right side. Whenever you go to bed, perform ablution, which is wudu, like that for the prayer, and lie on your right side. This is in Sahih Muslim. Modern scientific studies have suggested a beneficial effect of right lateral decubitus position on the heart. For healthy people, it doesn't matter, but for people with heart disease, it's better for them to sleep on the right side. I'll cite one study only for each thing because of the time. This study assessed the autonomic effect of 3 sleep position. Autonomic means the nervous system which can increase the heart rate or slow the heart rate, which can increase the blood pressure or decrease the blood pressure. And when we go to sleep, blood pressure should go down. This is the normal thing, so our heart will rest. If our blood pressure goes up at night, then we are likely to develop hypertension or high blood pressure. And they assist here the autonomic effect in supine, means sleeping on the back, left lateral decubitus, right lateral decubitus, meaning on the right side, in healthy subjects using spectral heart rate variability, which is the heartbeats. And they found that cardiac vagal activity, which means the activity that slows the heart rate and reduces blood pressure, which is the healthy effect during sleep, was greatest when subjects were in the right lateral decubitus position. So when we sleep in the right side, this has the best effect on the heart to rest after working hard for the daytime. Several studies have demonstrated that there is attenuation of the sympathetic tone this sympathetic tone or the nervous system, this which is increased during stress, so it increases heart rate and increases blood pressure. So this is attenuated, meaning that it is less or decreased when subjects are in the right position for sleep in patient with heart failure. This is heart failure. So for patient with heart failure or heart problem, sleeping in the right side is better for them. Prone position, which is sleeping on the stomach. The Prophet, peace be upon him, came out in the night to check up his guest, and saw me. This one of the Sahaba said, one of the companion of Prophet Muhammad, he saw me lying on my stomach. He prodded me with his foot and said, do not lie in this manner, for it is a way of lying that Allah hates. This is in Sahih al-Jami'. And recent evidence suggests that the waste product of the brain cells, one of them called amyloid beta, and this amyloid beta, if it accumulates in the brain, it causes what's called Alzheimer's disease, which affects memory. When people they don't know others, and they have memory problem, what's called Alzheimer's disease. Probably that term is familiar for non-medical attendees. They found that removal of this substance, which can cause Alzheimer's disease, happens through the lymphatics during deep sleep if people are sleeping in the lateral position. And nothing is happening when they sleep in the prone position or when they sleep in the stomach. When they sleep in the stomach, the brain cannot get rid of this toxic material, which is sitting there in the cells of the brain. Now we'll move to naps or siestas or qaylula. The short midday nap called qaylula in Islamic culture is deeply embedded practice in the Muslim culture. It takes a religious dimension as sunnah for some Muslims. And this hadith in Sahih al-Jami' by Al-Albani said, take a short nap, for devils do not take naps. This is hadith by Muhammad, peace be upon him. And when we did our recommendation, practice guidelines for napping, we recommended to take a short nap, less than 30 minutes or less around noon time, based on the currently available scientific literature evidence. I'm not going to discuss in depth, but this is what we bought based on the current evidence. Another hadith in Fath al-Bari says, sleeping early in the day betrays ignorance. So like sleeping before noon time, in the middle of the day is right, meaning around noon time, and at the end of the day, in the late afternoon, is stupid. Now I'll move to the circadian rhythm, meaning the body recognizes when it is day, when it is night, sleeping at night, working in the day. This is what we mean by circadian rhythm, or the biological clock. The Quran frequently presents day and night as significant signs of Allah, the Creator subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran mentions the alterations of night and day in 37 places, and in many places asks Muslims to observe the succession of night and day. And it is He who has made the night and the day in succession for whoever desires to remember or desire gratitude. وهو الذي جعل الليل والنهار خلفة لمن أراد أن يذكر أو أراد شكورا. يذكر, remember. Again, we have to watch the signs of the Creator. So this is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we have night and day and our body follows circadian rhythm. In the Quran, the word night always precedes the word day, and we have appointed the night and the day as two signs, again pointing that these are signs of Allah. And we have obliterated the sign of the night with darkness, while we made the sign of the day illuminating. So again, there is a reason behind having darkness at night and daylight in the daytime, because our body needs that to function properly, because we have daytime function and we have nocturnal functions or functions at night that for a healthy body we need to go through this cycle every 24 hours. Quran considers humans to be diurnal creatures, means daytime creature, meaning active in the daytime and inactive at night. There are other mammals that are active at night, like mice, for example, or cats, they're active at night and they are inactive in the daytime. Allah created them like that. For humans, Allah created their body to function best when they are active in the daytime and inactive at night. And it is He who makes the night a covering for you and the sleep a repose, and makes the day nushur, i.e. getting up and going about here and there for daily work after one's sleep at night. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here indicates that day and night are mercy from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we go through day and night as a mercy and signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this ayah say you, if Allah were to make the night perpetual over you to the day of judgment, what God is there other than Allah who can give you enlightenment? Will you not then hearken? Say you, if Allah were to make the day perpetual over you to the day of judgment, what God is there other than Allah who can give you a night in which you can rest? Will you then see? It is out of His mercy, subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has made for you night and day, that you may rest therein and that you may seek His grace, and in order that you may be grateful for the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The lifestyle of Muslims by the practice of Islam encourages early bedtime and rise time, as we discussed. And during summer nights, we know that we have earlier dawn and shorter nights. So Muslims may have less sleep at night during summer because of the earlier dawn prayer or Fajr prayer. And I'll cite here one study which was done in Japan, in a non-Muslim country, and they don't have dawn prayer or Fajr prayer. And they studied 10 healthy volunteers, and they found that in these healthy volunteers, though the working hours did not change and they don't have prayer, Fajr prayer to wake up, they wake up in summer 60 minutes earlier than what they do in winter. Even they don't have Fajr prayer. So we don't know if our body needs more sleep in winter than summer. We don't know about that, especially in countries where they get winter and they get summer. Probably in Indonesia and this part of the world, maybe the temperature doesn't change much between summer and winter, from what I know from visiting the area there. But in other countries, there are winter and summer. Winter when it is very cold, and summer which is very hot. So maybe there is something that we need to investigate more. Now we'll talk about sleep and death, which is one of the concepts in Islamic culture. And this ayah in Qur'an say, if Allah who takes away the souls wafat at the time of their death, and those that die not during their sleep, He keeps those souls for which He has ordained death and sends the rest for a term appointed. Verily, in this are signs for people who think deeply. Again, Quran always will say these are signs. Observe them and think about them and research them. So this ayah says that if real death happened during sleep, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will return the soul, will keep the soul. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants people to wake up after sleep, then He subhanahu wa ta'ala will release the soul to start another day, and until it is time for the real death. And this another ayah, it is He who takes your souls wafat by night when you are asleep, and has knowledge of all that you have done by day. Then He wakes you up again, that a term appointed your life period be fulfilled. Then in the end, to Him will be your return. Then He will inform you of that which you used to do. So again, talking about sleep as the minor death and the real death as the major death. And some Muslim scholars, like Ibn Khaldun, he thinks that during dreaming, the soul will leave the body, and then it will come back when people are not dreaming, and then will wake up with it. So the life states for in Muslim culture is two state: consciousness and wafat. Wafat, temporary death, which is sleep, and real death. So temporary death is sleep, which is temporary, and then we have real death. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, and this hadith we say every night, "Oh Allah, it is with thine name that I live, and it is with thine name that I die." This is what we use to say before we go to bed. And when we wake up in the morning, we say, as the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Praise, it's due to Allah who gave us life after our death," meaning sleep. أحياني بعد أن أماتني. So I have this, then I had life again. And unto thee is resurrection. This is in Sahih Muslim. Muslim believe that people in heaven do not sleep because sleep is a form of death. This is in Al-Imam Al-Albani. Do people of heaven sleep? This Prophet Muhammad was asked. He answered, peace be upon him, sleep is the brother of death. People of heaven do not sleep. And now I'll move to the ayahs about Ashab al-Kahf, because a lot of things about sleep there. People of the companion of the cave, and in the Christian literature they were used to call the 7 sleepers of Ephesus, and we know that the number of them in Quran is not clear. We know the ayahs about that. I will not talk about that. And this ayah in Quran describing Ashab al-Kahf, we know Ashab al-Kahf are young people who refuge in a cave, seeking refuge for their faith and religion, not to be killed because they were muwahhideen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So their people, they want to kill them, so they went to the cave, refuge, and then stayed there for 300 years, and by the lunar system 309 years old. And this ayah says, we turn them on their right and on their left side. We're turning them from side to side because if someone stays on one side for a long time, they may get what we call bed sores. And this we know in the hospital for medical people. So critically ill patient, for example, in the intensive care unit, we have to turn them from side to side, because if they stay in one side, they will have wounds and ulcers in that side of the body. So turning them from side to side is important to prevent ulcers, also to move the body so the body will not have clots in the blood. So this is, again, when you look at this description, we think of the medical aspects of it. If you stay asleep for 300 years, then it's important to move from side to side to prevent ulcers and to move the muscle to prevent blood clots. And you would have thought them awake whereas they were asleep. وَتَحْسَبُهُمْ أَيْقَاظًا وَهُمْ رُقُودٌ, meaning that they were opening eyes and they were blinking. And this has importance. Of course, in Quran say تَحْسَبُهُمْ أَيْقَاظًا وَهُمْ رُقُودٌ, so it will scare, if like animals or things goes inside, it will scare them that they are awake while they're asleep. But from the medical point, I can think of it, when they are opening eyes, then they can see light. And as I discussed earlier, light is important for calibrating our circadian rhythm and biological clock. And the receptors for light are in the retina of the eye, or at the back of the eyes. And this is connected to the biological clock in the brain, at the base of the brain, through the retina. So it's important to have the eyes open to perceive light. Also, if the eyes are open without blinking, then the cornea, or the surface of the eye, will get damaged, will get dry and damaged. Blinking is important to keep the surface of the eye wet and to remove debris, to remove things that will stick to the eye. By blinking, we remove that. So this is important because 300 years are in the same place. So it's important to perceive light so they can have their body, their cells will recognize when it is day and when it is night. So the body will function normal for 300 years. Otherwise, if you keep someone in a cave, dark cave, for 300 years, they will die. If you don't see light, you stay always, your body will be sick with time. The first suggests that their eyes were open and blinking when they were asleep. And then this ayah, and you might have seen the sun when it rose, declining to the right from their cave, and when it set, turning away from them to the left while they lay in the midst of the cave. That's one of the signs of Allah. Again, always this is a sign of Allah. Again, though they were asleep, they were exposed to light in their cave, not completely dark, and their eyes were open to perceive light, because as we said always, light is important for human body, important for the functions of the cells, because each single cell in the body has its own biological clock. Each single cell in the body has daytime, or what we call diurnal function, and nocturnal or nighttime function. And how to know day and night? By light. So that's why they have light even in the cave. The Quran describes sunlight that comes with sunrise and leaves at sunset to maintain the dark or the light-dark cycle of the body. And another ayah in Ashab al-Kahf, therefore we covered up their sense of hearing, causing them to go in deep sleep in the cave for a number of years. فَضَرَبْنَا عَلَى آذَانِهِمْ فِي الْكَهْفِ سِنِينَ عَدَدًا. We know that if you decrease the sense of hearing, people may go into deeper sleep, because hearing is one of the signs that is still functioning when we go to sleep. It is less than when we are awake, but it is one of the signs, one of the senses that still functioning. Although sensitivity to noise decreases during sleep, modern scientists believe that the sleeping body still responds to noise stimulation. Noise during sleep has a negative impact on quality of life. It increases arousal, increases changes in sleep stages, decreases slow wave sleep, and disrupts rhythmicity of REM sleep. Also, recent evidence showed that noise, people living in noisy places, they are prone to have high blood pressure, hypertension. So that's why their hearing was less, so they will have normal sleep and they will not have the side effects of noise. As we said, noise have effect on blood pressure and on the cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular meaning effect on the heart and the vessels, arteries of the body. I hope that these medical terms are familiar to the non-medical people. Noise during sleep may disrupt the autonomic nervous system, as we discussed, and endocrine responses, meaning that it may cause high blood pressure, may affect the vessels of the heart, may affect hormonal secretion. Accumulation of noise over time may result in harmful effects such as increased risk for cardiovascular diseases or heart diseases and high blood pressure. Subjects do not become adapted to these changes following long exposure time. Even if you stay in noise for a long time, your body will not get used to it. That's why the solution was to decrease their hearing in the cave. Now we'll move to dreams, which is the last part of the first part of this talk. Quickly over it. Muslims consider a dream to be a kind of supernatural perception. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said a good dream vision of a pious man is a 46th part of prophecy. And he said, peace be upon him, a good vision, ru'ya, is from Allah, and a bad dream, hulum, is from Satan, shaitan. So if one of you sees anything in the dream which he dislikes, he should spit on his left side thrice and seek refuge with Allah from his evil, and then it will never harm him. This is in Sahih al-Bukhari. Muslims in general have great interest in dreams and dream interpretation, and this is still maintained until now. This science is called neuromancy. It's a traditional type of dream interpretation called ta'bir or tafsir in the Muslim culture, and the Western, even recent Western medicine that look into dreams interpretation and their link with diseases, they depend a lot on the work of Muslims like Ibn Sirin, Ibn Qudama, Ibn Khaldun, who work on this. Dreams continue to play an important role in the lives of modern Muslims. I cited here two studies, one in Emirates and one in Egypt, good study in Egypt, which showed that Muslims until now, they still they care about dreams. I'm not saying that we should care about it, but this is embedded in the Islamic culture, especially among women. They like to interpret their dreams. Dreams in Quran appeared in 4 terms: ru'ya, which is vision, in 3 ayahs; hulum, which is dream, meaning dream in English, and this is in 2 ayahs; manam, sleep, in 1 ayah; and bushra, tidings, in 1 ayah. Dream description plays a major role in 3 surahs in Quran. In Surah Yusuf, the surah provides a condensed version of the story of Joseph, Prophet Joseph, and Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, and some of the best known references to dream interpretation, and Surah As-Saffat ranks. The surah focuses on Allah's command to Prophet Abraham to sacrifice his son Ismail, and Surah Al-Anfal spoils. This surah describes a dream of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Dream description plays a major role in three surahs as we discussed. For example, in Al-Anfal, this surah describes the dream of Prophet Muhammad. And remember, when Allah showed them to you as few, I showed you this ayah before, in your Prophet's dream, if he had shown them to you as many, you would surely have been discouraged and you would surely have disputed making a decision, but Allah saved you. This is what we said, that this is during the Badr battle when the Muslims were facing the enemy who overgrow them by numbers. So Allah showed them in his dream as little, so they can have the courage to go. And this one I showed you before. It is Allah who takes away the souls wafat at the time of their death, and those who die not during their sleep, he keeps those souls for which he has ordained death and sends the rest for a term appointed. Verily, these are signs of people who think deeply. That's why, based on that, Al-Qurtubi, Tafsir Al-Qurtubi, he divides dreams into true dreams are vision experienced while the soul is separated from the body during sleep. And this is thought to happen during real dreams or ru'ya, that the soul will leave the body. This is a Muslim scholar. This is not in Quran or Hadith. So this is maybe true or not true. So this is here one of the Muslim scholars, not Hadith or Quran. So this is not for fact. This is something that we can dispute. And then he said the other type is nightmares or lying dreams, not true dreams, occur when the soul has returned to the body, but before it has again taken fair root. In the Momental Muqaddimat Ibn Khaldun, Introduction to History, Ibn Khaldun states that there are different types of dreams. Dreams from Allah, which are clear and unmistakable in their meaning and content, and dreams from angels, which are received in the form of allegory and require interpretation, and dreams from shaitan, which are confused dreams that are futile. Again, these are Muslim scholars. These are not hadith or ayah. So we may take it or we may not take it. We may dispute it. So these are Muslim thinkers. Okay, now I'll move to the last part, which should not be long, hopefully 5 minutes, and then I'll conclude. This is the second paper. Again, Annals of Thoracic Medicine, 2018. You can get it from the internet. It's open access. Medieval Islamic scholarship and writing on sleep. Just briefly to tell you what Muslim scholars have done. The Muslim civilization ruled the world for hundreds of years, and it was the basis for the new European and Western civilization. But unfortunately, this was not well documented in the Western civilization. So we'll try to cover part of this, and I encourage all Muslims to go into their fields and try to document what Muslims have done. The development of medieval Islamic medicine was an important step in the evolution of science. A significant part of this scientific heritage was lost during the Mongol invasion of Baghdad and the eastern part of the Muslim empire. It has been estimated that less than 1 in every 1,000 books from the time survived the invasion of the Mongols. Muslims writing on medicine is not represented, unfortunately, in the European academia and modern literature. That's why we have to document it ourselves. This is Ibn Sina, what we call in the Western literature Ibn Sina, and this is the years of his birth and death. In his book, the famous book Al-Qanun fi Tib, the Canon of Medicine, chapter 9, he describes some techniques to assist an individual in falling asleep. One such technique as taking a bath after digestion of a meal, plenty of hot water poured over the head. And it's known now that taking a warm shower may help sleeping. Again, in the book of Al-Qanun fi Tib by Ibn Sina, he said, The chapter also outlined the behavioral and pharmacological approaches to treating insomnia and treating patients with circadian rhythm problems. He stated that if one is used to sleeping during the daytime, the participant to night sleep should be the change to the night sleep should be gradual and not abrupt, a suggestion that concurs with modern medicine. We know now that if you want to shift people who sleep in the daytime and they wake up at night, you have to do it gradually. He also stressed the importance of taking a moderate amount of sleep and warned against excessive short or long sleep. And we know now that short sleep is bad, long sleep is bad. Sleeping less than 6 hours is harmful to the heart and endocrine system. Sleeping more than 9 hours is bad. He warned against this since long time, as well as the impact of sleep deprivation on mental functions. He detailed that in his book. I will not go into the details of that. In his book also, he described that sleeping on the back can lead to stroke, paralysis, and nightmares. We know that sleeping in the back can increase the risk of sleep apnea, which is snoring and choking, and this can increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Another famous Islamic scholar is Al-Razi, Ibn Zakaria Al-Razi, in his book, Kitab al-Hawi fi al-Tib, known in Europe as Liber Continence. Long time before Van der Broek, a Dutch scientist who described sleep paralysis, Al-Razi described sleep paralysis in reasonable scientific description. He said, when the nightmare caboose happens, the person senses a heavy thing upon him and finds himself unable to scream. Then he described some scientific description of sleep paralysis. This is another book called Hidayat al-Muta'allimin, or Learner's Guide to Medicine, by Abu Bakr al-Ikhwani al-Bukhari. And he designated a chapter to nightmares and sleep paralysis. He attempted to scientifically analyze the etiology of sleep paralysis and discuss the available therapeutic approaches to resolving it. Because before that, several cultures were thinking that there is jinni or evil sitting on someone's chest and pressing him, causing sleep paralysis. But Al-Ikhwani, Al-Bukhari, he tried to describe that in a more scientific way. Ibn al-Jazzar, known in Latin as Al-Jizar, he wrote the first dedicated book on sleep and sleepiness. But unfortunately, this book was lost during the Mongol invasion of Baghdad. I'll conclude here now. Sorry if I took more time. And the key points here that Islam and other ancient religions provide significant information about the historical and cultural views of sleep, and these precede modern scientific studies by hundreds or thousands of years. The Quran describes different types of sleep, and these correspond with different sleep stages identified by modern sleep scientists. About 1500 years ago, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stressed the importance of sleep for good health, and the Quran stresses the importance of the alteration of night and day and light exposure. Anab Qaylula is well-established cultural practice in the Islamic culture. For some Muslims, the nap has religious dimensions as well. Modern sleep scientists currently recommend many sleep practices. Dream interpretation is an established science in the Muslim literature. I didn't discuss that in details, like Ibn Sirin, one of the famous interpreter of dreams. And the Islamic theories of dream interpretation correspond with many theories currently proposed by modern sleep scientists, which is related to the lifestyle, the life behavior of the subjects, and the beliefs. They mix them together. Studies of religious literature in general and Islamic literature in particular may help to answer unresolved questions in sleep science or lead to new areas of inquiry. Muslim scholars and philosophers contributed to the understanding of the importance of sleep, some sleep disorders, and dreams. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan, Professor Ahmed BaHammam. Really insightful, and I found so many deep insights. To me, especially in the discussion about Ashabul Kahf. Thank you very much, Professor Ahmed BaHammam. And before we proceed to question-answer session, I will give opportunity to our panelists, two of our panelists, to give comments. Dr. Aris and Ustadz Arief.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abdurrahman.
Yes, please, time is yours.
Oh, okay, thank you. I will say hello to Professor Ahmed BaHammam. Assalamualaikum, Professor.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خير.
How are you?
And Dr. Aris, and nice to meet you all.
Yes,
جزاكم
I'm
الله
very,
خير.
very glad for your about your coming in our discussion. This topic about sleep is the second discussion. After the previous, we have many questions that's not can we answer that. So this day in this discussion we can get our can get answer about our question in previous discussion, but how right lateral decubitus position, that's cardiac vagal activity is be a greatest. Yes, I think this is very nice for our meeting this day. Professor Ahmed, I will say hello to Mr. Abdurrahman and Ustadz Arief. Both of them can speak well in English and Arabic too.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله.
You can speak English or Arabic, but I cannot speak English or English well.
Your English is very good, mashallah. You have good English.
No, no, no. I'm shy. I'm embarrassed about my English. Professor Ahmed, I think you have preparation your presentation about variety reduction of sleep in Al-Qur'an. We can know what's the meaning of sleep in Quran, and this is very important for me. And you about nap. This is the question in previous discussion too. We cannot answer that when there was the question about Mr. Fadil. Is he here now? Mr. Fadil. About the Prophet's friends always with many activity that is very busy. That was I say in physiology of sleep. I say I'm Professor Ahmed. I am a lecturer in medical faculty in about physiology medicine. So I say about physiology only, but I'm very I can explain the question about the nap. Why the nap? We sleep about half to 1 hour only, but we feel improve our performance in when we Qaylulah. Yeah, but when we night sleep, we cannot only 1 or 2 hours. That's not enough for be a good sleep. That's you. I'm very glad and about the many questions in previous discussion can be answered in this day. I think that's enough, Mr. Abdurrahman.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Aris. Jazakallah khairan.
Dr. Aris. Dr. Abdurrahman, can I comment on the NABs?
Yes, of course, please.
Yes. Because the time was short, so not short, I took long time, but I don't want to take much longer time. I think Qaylula and NAB is a very interesting topic. And there are, you know, it is cultural. For example, in the Mediterranean area, Mediterranean means area around the White Sea area, like in Italy, France, and Spain, even in China, East Asia, and in the Arab countries and Middle East. Siesta is really embedded in the culture. And study, for example, from Greece that followed patients for a long time who live healthy life, and they take Qaylula, they find it is protective against cardiovascular diseases. They have less cardiovascular diseases. However, there are some studies now, in case you come across them or anyone raise these, that studies showing that people who take NAB, they have higher risk of death and cardiovascular disease. These studies are coming from the Western society. And we know that in the Western society, like in Northern Europe, like UK, Northern France, Germany, US, Canada, they don't take Qaylula. It's not in their culture. It's not in their culture. So people who used to take Qaylula there probably are people who are sick. Because they are sick, so they cannot work, they go and sleep. That's why they have higher death or higher mortality. We reviewed this topic extensively when we put the Saudi guidelines. I can share it with you for sleep duration, and we covered Qaylula, Ramadan, and sleep, because I have a lot of research on Ramadan and sleep. I published probably 30-40 papers on that.
Yes.
And also Fajr prayer and sleep. Studies that showed that taking a short nap in the midday has been shown to be protective and to improve cognitive function and improve performance, as Dr. Aris mentioned. So sometimes people, they say, yeah, but other studies in the West showed that if you take nap, you increase mortality. But that's not the case. If you do it in the right environment for healthy people and take a short nap, some people, they sleep like 3 hours at night, then they sleep 4 hours in the daytime. That's not nap. That's what we call split sleep. They split their sleep into two, between day and night. So that's not nap. So this is something just to keep in mind in case someone raised this question. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much, Professor Ahmed.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed.
Yeah, actually, we need to continue discussion about this because in the previous discussion, one question arose that according to the history of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they had very intensive activities, but also in the night they conduct long prayers, long tahajjud prayers. So it seems that the duration of their sleep was not equal to 8 or 9 hours, which is standard today in today's medicine. So we need more findings on the duration of the sleep of the Prophet ﷺ and the companions, and how is it compatible with today's standard of sleep duration? This question need to be discussed more, I think, Professor.
Yes, Jazakallah khair. I'm trying to get a hadith. I didn't put it here. Hadith of the sleep of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I wrote about that before in Arabic, that the Prophet, he will sleep the first part of the night, and then he will wake up to pray night prayer. I'm trying to look for the hadith there. Then he will go to sleep again until Fajr. I'm trying to find hadith. Sorry, I'll keep searching while I'm talking. And there is some evidence that this split night at sleep, maybe it is the healthy sleep pattern, which is like splitting sleep, not taking a whole consolidated sleep for the whole night. In the modern civilization now, we take sleep for the whole night and wake up to work. But the literature thinks that before the modern civilization, even for non-Muslims, they used to sleep in the first part of the night, then they wake up at night for different reasons. I found hadith here. This hadith, Mu'mineen Aisha, when she was asked about the sleep of Prophet Muhammad, she said that he was asleep in the first part of the night, then he wake up to sleep at the end of it, or this is also sleep of Nabiullah Dawood, I think, and then he goes to sleep before Fajr. I don't put it because of for the sake of time, but it is some scholars, even recent scholars, non-Muslim, they think that splitting sleep at night may be the healthy part of sleep, not like getting it continuous. But in the recent literature, based on the current evidence that we have, the duration of sleep for adults is per day is from 7 to 9 hours. This is the healthy. If it is less than that, more than that, then they may have problems. For people more than 65 years, it's 7 to 8 hours. But the question, should it be continuous sleep at night or people wake up? There is some evidence, though it is not strong yet, that maybe splitting sleep at night, splitting means dividing sleep. Sleeping first part of the night, first third of the night, then waking up, praying, then sleeping before before Fajr, then wake up for Fajr prayer. This is the healthy pattern of sleep. Then the question, is it healthy to sleep after Fajr or not? We put a recommendation for that in the Saudi guidelines or practice guidelines for sleep. We took a sample of healthy volunteers during summertime when Fajr prayer in Riyadh is around, in Saudi Arabia is around 3:15 or 3:30. And then we let them wake up for Fajr prayer, then go back to sleep. Or in the other part of the study, other arm of the study, we let them sleep until it's work time. And then we assess their sleep for the 2 arms of the study, and we assess their cognitive function. We found no difference. So if you wake up to Fajr and then go back to sleep, this is in healthy young volunteers, we find no difference. Again, studies that have been done on pilots, not pilots, astronauts. Astronauts, when they go to space, in spaceships, they cannot sleep for 8 hours because they have to do shifts. So they split their sleep into 4 hours, 4 hours. And then they assess their cognitive function and sleep, and they found no difference. So based on these findings, we recommended that if Fajr prayer is early, like in certain countries during summertime, it may be 3 or even 2:30 in the early morning, people can go to sleep after that. They can go to sleep. At least for the short term, data from the short term, there is no side effects. But for the long term, we don't know until now. So we put it as a conditional recommendation, not as a strong recommendation. Because it's the expert opinion. We don't have good evidence for the long term. However, this is one important point. After Fajr, when people go to sleep, that's the time when we get more dreams. Dreams in physiology of the body, we call it the rapid eye movement sleep. And during the rapid eye movement sleep, which is one of the stages of sleep, we have increase in the sympathetic nervous system. And we say this sympathetic nervous system is the stress nervous system that increase blood pressure, increase the heart rate. So if we have patients who have what we call sleep apnea, meaning that when they go to sleep, they stop breathing because their airway will close. So they cannot breathe and they snore. They snore and they stop breathing. In the dreaming stage, they are more likely to have more apneas and more drop in the blood oxygen. Because in the dreaming stage, our body gets paralyzed. This is a protective mechanism. So we don't get up and walk. If we dream that we are walking, we will not walk because our body is paralyzed. This is a protective mechanism. In some diseases, like in Parkinson's disease, if you know this disease, you have heard of it, people may lose this protective mechanism. So if they dream of walking, they may get up and walk and then harm themselves. If they dream that they are fighting, they may hit, for example, he may hit his wife. And this is, we see these cases. So this there is paralysis. So with the paralysis, even if the throat muscles, we may get more apnea. So if people decide to go to sleep after Fajr and they have sleep apnea, and they are on a machine called CPAP that we use to treat sleep apnea, that open the airway, it's important to use their device because that's the time when they may have myocardial infarction, they may have heart attack or stroke, brain attack, stroke of the brain, because that's the time when the oxygen may go down if they have sleep apnea, and that's the time when the heart needs more oxygen. And that's the time also when the morning changes in the body will start. So the cortisol hormone or the stress hormone will start going up. And that's the time when blood pressure will start shooting up. So in people with sleep apnea, that's the time when they may have stroke or heart attack. Even in healthy people, they, not healthy people, I mean people who don't have sleep apnea, the time of heart attack is between 6 a.m. and 12 midday, because that's the time when the cortisol hormone, adrenaline hormone will increase. So that period of sleep is important. So if someone has, if he needs to use a machine for breathing, or if he needs to use oxygen, if he decides or she decides to go to sleep after Fajr prayer, they should use it because that's the time when they may have medical problems.
I see. So many important findings, so many important recommendations. May I have time to translate this to Bahasa Indonesia?
Sure.
But before, I want to confirm my understanding because I'm afraid I make mistake. First, splitting sleep is good as practiced by the Prophet. Yeah. At night, splitting at night.
Yeah, waking up for like 30 minutes, something to breathe and go back to sleep.
Okay. Yes. But the total duration should not less than 7 hours. Is correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then according to your studies, or the studies that you present us, that there is no difference found in two groups. One is sleep without splitting, and another one is sleep with splitting. Is it correct?
No, this is for Fajr prayer. When the Fajr prayer comes early during summertime, we studied the effect if people will sleep until it's their work time and wake up and pray Fajr and go to work like 7:30 or 7. Or if they decide to wake up for Fajr at 3 a.m., then pray Fajr, then go to sleep until Fajr. We find
in the summer.
Yes, in summertime. We find no difference in sleep quality and cognitive function in the next day.
So there is no difference between the two.
No difference in sleep quality and cognition.
The cognition. Okay, the ability to
the next day.
The ability. Okay, and then the last part of your explanation is about the risk. The risk when someone decide to sleep after Fajr. So is it correct if I say that there is an increasing risk of like have more dreams and like the less of oxygen?
I don't want to scare people. For normal subjects, there is no problem.
Oh, I see.
Dreams follow a circadian rhythm. So the dreaming stage increase usually at the end of sleep, and deep sleep will increase in the first half of the night. Dreams will increase in the second half of sleep. So it's normal that we have more dreams around Fajr and after Fajr. And for normal people, no problem. I don't want to scare people, but people who have lung disease or heart disease, and they are getting oxygen or a machine for breathing to help their breathing.
I see.
They need to use it at that time, because some patients, they say, I'll use it the whole night, then I'll wake up for Fajr prayer, then I'll take a break. I'll take a break. I will not use it now for 1-2 hours. Let me just relax. No, that time, if you are on a machine or oxygen, that time is important. You should use it. This is for sick people.
For sick people only.
No
for normal people, no problem.
For normal people, no problem.
Oke, thank you very much. Oke, Ustadz Arief, saya mohon izin dulu menerjemahkan. Nanti setelah ini Ustadz Jadi Bapak Ibu, saudara-saudara sekalian, ini ada diskusi yang sangat-sangat penting yang tadi disampaikan pertama kali oleh Dr. Aris menyambung pertanyaan di minggu lalu soal bagaimana sih sebetulnya durasi tidur di malam hari dan juga di siang hari ketika nap ya, ketika tidur siang. Nah, Profesor Ahmed BaHammam menyebutkan bahwa nap tidur siang itu sangat penting dan yang saya ingat salah satunya itu studi menunjukkan ada berkurangnya risiko kematian ya dengan adanya budaya tidur siang. Sementara di negara-negara yang tidak memiliki budaya tidur siang itu tingkat kematiannya lebih tinggi. Itu tentang nap, tentang tidur siang. Nah, tentang tidur malam yang di pertemuan lalu sempat disampaikan pertanyaan itu mengenai bagaimana tidur itu ketika para sahabat itu beraktivitas dan sholat malam yang panjang kok sepertinya tidurnya sedikit. Nah, Profesor Ahmed berkomentar bahwa yang dicontohkan oleh Nabi, sebagaimana hadis yang diriwayatkan oleh Aisyah radhiyallahu anha, itu beliau Nabi tidur di awal malam setelah Isya, kemudian bangun, kemudian sholat, ya, kemudian kembali tidur lagi, nah, kemudian nanti sholat fajar, begitu. Nah, jadi di sini ada splitting. Ada pemilahan tidur, jadi tidur tidak terus-terusan. Nah, kemudian saya tadi konfirmasi apa benar pemahaman saya bahwa itu memang baik gitu ya. Jadi tidur yang tidak terus-terusan dengan ada splitting itu baik. Nah, cuma total durasinya di malam hari. Maaf saya lupa ya, di malam hari atau itu tetap sesuai dengan standar, sesuai dengan hasil temuan
total sehari.
Total
sehari kayaknya.
Itu tetap minimal 7 jam, tidak kurang dari 7 jam untuk orang dewasa. Nah, jadi ini menurut saya ini penting untuk saya sampaikan supaya kita semua paham bahwa yang dicontohkan Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam itu yang perlu kita contoh berarti yang splitting ya. Jadi tidak langsung dari Isya sampai subuh tidurnya begitu. Tapi ada bangunnya, kemudian beraktivitas, sholat, kemudian tidur lagi. Nah, tapi sesuai dengan temuan studi saat ini itu tidak kurang dari 7 jam. Kemudian beliau menyinggung soal tidur setelah fajar. Nah, terutama konteksnya adalah di negara-negara yang memiliki musim panas, memiliki summer. Itu subuhnya sangat awal. Tadi saya sudah konfirmasi betul itu soal fajar di summer ya, karena ketika musim panas itu sholat subuhnya awal, misalnya jam 3 begitu. Nah, beliau melakukan studi orang yang tidur full sampai pagi menjelang jam kerja, terus bangun, terus sholat, terus kerja, dengan orang yang tidur terus di awal fajar sekitar jam 3 bangun, sholat, kemudian tidur lagi setelah fajar. Itu diteliti tidak ada perbedaan dalam hal kognitif. Jadi kemampuan kognitifnya tidak ada perbedaan menurut studi yang beliau laporkan tadi. Nah, hanya saja bagi orang yang memiliki kelemahan dalam hal faal ya kalau nggak salah, sehingga memerlukan alat bantu pernafasan. Nah, untuk orang yang seperti itu, ketika memutuskan untuk tidur setelah fajar, maka jangan sampai melepas alat bantu pernafasannya. Karena pada saat itu ada kondisi, kalau nggak salah tadi ada hormon ya, ada hormon yang naik, ada itu sehingga justru sangat dibutuhkan. Karena kalau kata beliau setelah saya konfirmasi tadi, ada orang-orang yang merasa saya sudah pakai sepanjang malam, saya mau melepas saja tidur. Nah itu jangan. Tapi untuk orang yang tidak memiliki kelemahan itu, orang yang sehat, maka itu tidak masalah. Kata beliau, I don't want to scare people. Jadi beliau, saya tanya apa nggak baik itu tidur setelah subuh ya, saya nggak pengen nakut-nakuti orang, kata beliau. Jadi itu yang perlu saya sampaikan karena saya rasa ini hal baru sekali buat saya ya, dan saya rasa ini penting. Baik, bagaimana Ustaz Arief, sudah siap nggih mau menyampaikan?
Nggih. Baik. Wahayyikum, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ustaz Ahmed BaHammam. Kaifa halukum? Mana istafadna min muhadaratikumul qayyimah أنا درست في الأزهر
ما شاء الله
أتحدث باللغة العربية لا أستطيع
ما شاء الله
أتحدث بالإنجليزية
ما شاء
لكن
الله
محاضرة
bisa pakai bahasa Arab itu terus sama kalau mau ngeritik Prof Ahmad.
Insyaallah, insyaallah.
Subhanallah, محاضركم يعني محاضرة قيمة وذكرت من عدة النواحي يعني من ناحية الطبية وناحية تفسير ومؤلفات علماء الكرام يعني الجزار وابن سينا وهكذا ini عن النوم فقط subhanallah ini yani alhamdulillah tadi terkait dengan ma'adziratan ana atahaddas bil Injilisi bil Arabia ana atahaddas bil Injilisi illa qalil ya mungkin who are you came from qalil atahaddas bil Arabia faqat ini tadi dikaitkan binisba li maudu' qailulah terkait dengan tema qailulah. Hunaka ikhtilaf bainal ulama hal qabla dhuhur aw ba'da dhuhur. Fa ana wajadtu fi tarjih anna qailulah ada ba'da dhuhur ya. Jadi qailulah itu apakah sebelum zuhur atau setelah zuhur? Tapi di hadis di Imam Bukhari itu disebutkan itu ba'da dhuhur. Hadisnya adalah ma kunna naqil wala nataghadza illa ba'dal jum'ati fi ahdi Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ada riwayat Imam Bukhari.
Profesor Tafsir.
Ya, kita tidak tidur qailulah kecuali dan tidak makan kecuali setelah Jumat. Ya, ini di zaman Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ada binisba li qailulah. Lianna hunak man qala al-qailulah qabla dhuhur wa ba'da dhuhur. Hakada ini. Wa aidan binisba li subhanallah yani binisba li annal naum wa akhul maut bahwa tidur anna naum wa brother did akhul maut fa hunaka hadis di sana ada hadis alladhi arsyadana bi yani qabla naum hunaka du'a yani idza da'una bi hadha du'a annamu ta'ala al-fitrah. Ya, jadi di sana kita karena tadi disebutkan bahwa tidur itu saudaranya mati dan ada hadis yang menjelaskan bahwa kalau kita ingin tidur dalam dan kemudian pas tidur Allah takdirkan meninggal, kita bisa dengan doa ini itu kita mati dalam keadaan fitrah. Jadi disebutkan di hadis itu, ini hadis Anil Barra, anna Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam qala idza ataita madja'aka fatawadda wudu'aka lis-shalah. Jadi kalau engkau ingin pergi ke tidur maka adalah berwudu sebagaimana wudu untuk persiapan salat. Tsumma taji ala shiqqikal aiman, kemudian tidur dalam posisi ya lambung dalam ke kanan ya. Seperti di lambung sebelah kanan gitu. Sehingga hati yang ini ala shiqqikal aiman. Tsumma qul, kemudian katakanlah Allahumma inni aslamtu wajhi ilaik. Inni aslamtu wa fawwadtu amri ilaik. Kemudian walja'tu dhuhri ilaik raghbatan wa rahbat ilaik. Ya, ini doanya. Kemudian la manja wa la malja'a wa la manja minka illa ilaik. Jadi la malja'a wa la manja minka illa ilaik. Kemudian amantu bi kitabikal ladzi anzalta wa bi nabiyyikal ladzi arsalta faj'al hunna akhira kalam fa in mitta mita 'alal fitrah. Atau kama qala Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jadi tidur itu sesuai dengan tuntunan Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, bahkan ada tuntunan doa, dan doa itu kalau kita lakukan dan kita maka kita ketika dicabut nyawanya itu dalam kondisi fitrah ya, dalam kita kondisi fitrah. Dan juga di situ kan disebutkan mustahabbah ya, naum ya, apalagi qailulah tadi hukumnya mustahabbah, dan naum ini juga salah satu tanda kebesaran Allah Subhanahu wa taala gitu. Dan tadi doa tadi itu juga bagaimana tuntunan dari Rasul SAW itu dengan doa tadi sampai nyambung ke masalah akidah tadi. Amantu bi kitabikal ladzi anzalta wa bi nabiyyikal ladzi arsalta. Jadi masuk bahkan dalam tidur itu masuk kategori apa ya masalah akidah ini. Kemudian juga di situ hunaka fil lughatil arabiyyah daqaiq kalimat dzakartum hunak sinatun naum sinah ada muqaddimatun naum. Jadi di dalam bahasa Arab itu detail sekali tentang tidur ini. Ada muqaddimah tidur itu namanya tadi sinah. Sinah itu kalau apa ya dia karena nu'as ini sama ngantuk nggak ke terjemahannya. Kalau sinah itu muqaddimah dia biasanya berkaitan dengan mata kan. Sinah ini kemudian nu'as bahkan disebutkan idh yughashshikumun nu'asa amanatan minhu yunazzilu 'alaikum minas sama' ma liyutahhirakum. Kemudian ada huju, kemudian rukut. Rukut tadi wa tahsabuhum ayqadha wa hum rukut. Rukut itu tidur yang dalam waktu panjang. Tadi long period ya masalah tidur tadi. Dan Allah SWT memuji kanu qalila minal laili ma yahjaun. Jadi tidur itu bukan tidur langsung tidur panjang di malam hari, tetapi tidur yang di situ tetap ada waktu untuk Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Nah, kemudian Imam Al-Ghazali dzakar ya Ustazna binisbah li qailula hadza lima yuridu ay yaquma bil lail kama anna sahur lis-shaim. Sebenarnya qailulah ini bagi modal atau bekal untuk orang yang qiyamul lail sebagaimana sahur itu untuk puasa. Tetapi kalau memang nggak mau qiyamul lail ya jangan qailulah disebutkan itu. Jadi sebagaimana kalau nggak mau puasa ya jangan sahur tidak perlu sahur istilahnya. Nah, itu disebutkan oleh Imam Al-Ghazali gitu. Kemudian dzakartum aidan ya Ustaz ahlul jannati la yanamun. Jadi di surga itu penduduk surga tidak tidur. Ahlul jannati la yanamun. Tapi hanya tadi disebutkan qailulah makilah. Yani ahlul jannati kama dzakara fil Qur'an ashabul jannati yaumaidin khairu mustaqarr wa ahsanu maqila. Jadi penduduk surga itu ya tempatnya bagus dan ya mereka tidak tidur panjang, tidak ada layanamun tapi qailil maqila hanya qailulah. Itu beberapa mungkin terkait dengan ini tambahan. Allah alam. Terima kasih atas waktunya. Syukran ya Ustaz Ahmad BaHammam.
Jazakallah khair Ustaz Arief. I will just comment. Jazakallah khair Dr. Ustaz Arief.
Syukran. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
I will comment on the qailula يعني كما ذكر أستاذ عارف as أستاذ عارف mentioned. This is important. يعني when we say qailula is around noon time and as أستاذ عارف mentioned it's after ظهر probably كما في الحديث after Jum'ah prayer or بعد صلاة الجمعة. This is important for people who wake up early for dawn prayer. When we put our recommendations for the timing of qailula or nap around noon time for people who wake up for Fajr prayer or for dawn prayer. So by that time they are tired, they can take a short nap to make them fresh and improve cognitive function. But this is not for everyone. If someone, for example, wakes up, start his day at 9 a.m., then he should not take qailula at after 12. That's not possible because people who start their day around dawn, around Fajr, then their circadian rhythm will be different from someone who starts his day at 9. So we have two dibs. If we look to the time when we feel sleepiness 2 times per day. One of them is around noon or afternoon for people who wake up early, then at night when we go to sleep. So when we feel this sleepiness, a nap is good because it can make you fresh, a short nap. This people who wake for Fajr. But if you wake up at 9, then your circadian clock or biological clock will be shifted, will not be the same. So your hormonal secretion, like the hormone for sleep, the melatonin hormone, secretion will be delayed. For people who wake up early, Fajr, probably they reach the peak, the highest level of melatonin hormone, for example, probably will be around 2 or 1:30 in the morning. Then you wake up at Fajr, start coming down, and cortisol, the stress hormone, is going up. If you wake up at 9, your day usually starts at 9, then probably your highest melatonin level probably will be around 6 a.m., for example, or 5:30. So it's not the same. So qaylula after Dhuhr prayer or around that time was for people who wake up early, not for everyone. Someone who wakes up late, we don't ask him to go and take qaylula there because he just woke up.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed. It's very important. And how many minutes is recommended for qaylula?
Based on what we have when we review the literature and on experimental work that they did experiment on healthy subjects, we recommend that it is less than 30 minutes, 30 minutes or less. Because if you exceed 30 minutes, you will go half an hour, you will go into deep sleep or stage 3 of sleep. And if you go into stage 3 of sleep, you have to get that sleep and wake up from it. Because if someone comes and wake you up from stage 3, you wake up confused. And this may happen to you. Sometimes you may have felt it. If you go to bed, if you come from work tired, you had a busy day, then you nap for like 45 minutes, then someone come and wakes you up at home, then you wake up, you don't know who's around, who's talking to you, where I am, what time is it? You wake up confused. Because if someone wakes you up from deep sleep, before you get enough deep sleep, we enter into something called sleep inertia. This inertia is a physical term, inertia in physics. So it will take you 30 minutes to 1 hour for cognitive function, mental function to come back to normal, because you wake up confused. But if you take short nap, like only stage 1 and 2, then you wake up immediately, you feel alert. But you have to take enough to take enough of deep sleep.
Thank you very much, Professor Ahmed. Bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu, ini ada informasi sangat penting dari Profesor Ahmed. Pertama soal waktu melakukan qaylullah itu di siang hari setelah zuhur. Kemudian beliau menyebutkan bahwa qaylullah atau nap atau tidur siang itu hanya dianjurkan bagi mereka yang bangunnya awal. Jadi bangunnya pada waktu fajar, maka dianjurkan, direkomendasikan melakukan tidur siang. Tapi untuk orang yang tidurnya sampai melewati fajar, misalkan bangun jam 9, maka tidak direkomendasikan tidur siang. Seperti tadi info dari Ustadz Arief juga tidur siang untuk yang mempersiapkan diri untuk sholat malam. Nah, kemudian saya tanya berapa menit yang direkomendasikan untuk tidur siang. Nah, beliau berdasar studi ya pada subjek yang sehat, ya, orang-orang yang sehat di studi itu menemukan tidur siang yang baik itu 30 menit atau kurang dari 30 menit. Karena kalau lebih dari 30 menit nanti kita masuk ke fase deep sleep, ya, tidur yang dalam, yang itu kemudian kalau kita bangun kita akan kebingungan dan kita memerlukan waktu 30 menit sampai 1 jam untuk mengembalikan pikiran kita. Gitu. Jadi yang baik adalah tidur siangnya tidak lebih dari 30 menit. Oke, panitia, apa sudah ada pertanyaan masuk dari peserta ya? Kalau belum ada, saya ada pertanyaan-pertanyaan penting Prof. Ahmed. Silakan. Ada pertanyaan dari, is there any questions from the audience? Because we ask the audience to write down their questions on the Google form. So I would like to confirm to our brothers or sisters who are in charge of these forms. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, while waiting for the questions from the audience, I would like to ask one important questions regarding what Al-Ustad Arief mentioned in the Quran. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has said, كانوا قليلا من الليل ما يهجعون. كانوا قليلا من الليل ما يهجعون. And in the beginning of your presentation, Professor Ahmed, you mentioned that huju is the stage of deep sleep.
No, I said that huju is sleep at night.
Oh, sleep at night. The deep sleep is ruqud. Subat.
No, I said ruqud is sleep for long periods.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Ruqud for long period. And subat is the deep sleep, because subat is derived from the Arabic word sabt. And sabt means cut. So probably it's interpreted as disconnected from the... So subat probably is the deep sleep, and huju' is sleep at night. كانوا قليلا من الليل ما يهجعون. So at night, yes.
So first, I apologize for making mistakes in remembering what your classification. But then I would like to ask about this قليلا. كانوا قليلا من الليل ما يهجعون. So as what I understand from this ayat is that qalil of huju is recommended or is appreciated more than many or much of huju. Could you explain about this?
I think in this ayah, and Saud will know more than me, this talk about al-muttaqin, the pious people, muttaqin, taqwa, who are scared of Allah. But I think we should look to the behavior and habits of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that he sleeps well at night, and he wake up for night prayer. And he said clearly in hadith that I mentioned that if you feel tired, don't pray, go to sleep if you feel sleepy. And when Zainab bought a robe in the mosque to hold it and pray because she feels tired and sleepy, he asked him to remove it and say, pray if you are active, go to sleep if you are sleepy. So I think that's clear that listen to your body, what your body needs. And then if you have the energy to get up at night and pray, get up, but don't pray the whole night. This is like fasting. When Sahaba came to the Prophet and say, each one of them said something, and one of them say, I'll fast every day. And the Prophet say, يعني, I'm the one who أتقاكم لله وأعلمكم بالهذا, وأم the one who يعني أخاف الله أكثركم. يعني I don't fast every day. And so like so fast one day. And so anyways, يعني I think it's clear in the Sunnah and the practice of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that sleep is important.
Yes.
And is important for health. And this is very important because until recent, like this century, people start to realize the importance of sleep. And they used to think before that it's a waste of time. And even Edison, when he invented the electricity and light, he thought that people sleep because of darkness and they are wasting a lot of time. They could have done more and invent more. So one of his theories is that if we can enlighten night, make more light at night, then people will work more and produce more. And now we know that if people stay awake at night, even those who do shift work, who sleep in the daytime and work at night, they are at higher risk of having cardiometabolic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, ischemic heart disease, just by working at night and sleeping in the daytime. So sleep is important. We know from recent medicine, and the Prophet, peace be upon him, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وجعلنا الليل لباسا وجعلنا النهار معاشا. So الليل, night is a repose, libasa, so you can sleep and relax, and nahar is for working, معاشا. معاشا, you go and work. Yes.
Okay, so listen to your body. So depends on our body's need. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And don't compare yourself with someone. Some people may need less hours, and they are more active for prayers, and some people may be less. So don't pressurize yourself. Just do what's good. And I'm not sheikh, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make everyone for us good in something. Some people are good for sunnah, prayer at night, doing this and this. And some people are less in that, but for example, Allah give them money and they give sadaqah. And some people, Allah give them ilm, whether ilm shari'i, religious or medical or engineer, and they go and they teach people for free. So Allah يسخر people, يسخرهم, تسخير, make people go to wherever. So no one should compare himself with the other and say this is doing this. It's good to do things, but again, you have capabilities and your body needs are different from a person to person. Some people can fast every other day, and some people they cannot fast every other day, though they are healthy. But if they fast, they feel tired, they cannot work, they can't do this and that. So manage your body. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Ahmed. It's very interesting viewpoints, and I agree wholeheartedly with you. But I remember that you cite Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina, one of what he recommends is that when someone wants to shift the time of sleeping, he should not do it abruptly. So my question is that while we acknowledge the different ability of people to accommodate their sleeping duration, sleeping time, is it possible to train ourselves to shift either the time of our sleep or either the duration of our sleep? Is it possible, and how is the best practice to do that if someone wants to do that?
For duration, as we discussed, if people sleep the normal duration, then they cannot make it less. And the body needs are different, which will be related to genetics. Again, the timing of sleep is related to both genetics and to the environment. For example, young people, teenagers, like more than 15, early 20s, they have what we call delayed sleep phase disorder. Some of them, they tend to have difficulty falling asleep at night. They go to bed late, and they like to wake up late. And this is a medical disorder that has also genetic components. We face this problem in Ramadan, after Ramadan in Saudi Arabia, probably not in Indonesia. In Saudi Arabia, people now, this is recent, was not there before, they used to stay awake the whole night. This is not healthy, by the way. And we can talk about it sometime later. It causes a lot of medical problems. But then they eat sahur, pray fajr, then go to sleep. Then when it is after Ramadan, they want to adjust their sleep, go back to sleep at night because they have to wake up for work early. Or students, when it is summer break, they like to stay awake the whole night, sleep in the daytime, then school will come, they want to adjust. And some people, they have it even without doing that. They have this problem. They say, I cannot sleep at night. There is some behavioral and medical treatment for that. I will not go into the details of the medical treatment, but as Ibn Sina mentioned, we adjust that gradually. You cannot, someone who sleep like 5 in the morning, then you tell him next day I want you to sleep 10 p.m. He cannot do that. Actually, 2 to 3 hours before bedtime is called the forbidden zone. Forbidden zone means that if you used to go to bed at 11 p.m., if we ask you to sleep at night, it's difficult for you. That's a forbidden zone. You cannot sleep in that time. So we do it gradually by exposing them to light in the morning, because the light will advance our sleep, will make us sleep earlier. We may give them some medication like melatonin to improve sleep. And we go with them step by step, like 1 hour daily. And this, as Ibn Sina suggested, you cannot do it sudden, because they will not. If you do it suddenly, then someone who's used to sleep in the daytime and wake up at night, if they stay awake the whole day and try to sleep at night, it will be like a nap for them. What's the meaning of that? For example, if someone, a normal subject, he sleeps at night, then takes a nap in the daytime. If one night he was busy, then he stayed awake the whole night, he couldn't sleep. Then in the daytime he has a chance to sleep. He will sleep 2 or 3 hours and wake up. He cannot sleep for 7 hours because the hormones that are needed to consolidate sleep, to make sleep long, like melatonin and other changes, are not secreted in that time. So it will be like a nap for them. The same thing for someone who sleeps all his hours in the daytime. If he stays awake and then tries to sleep at night, it will be only a nap for them. They'll sleep only 2 or 3 hours and wake up and cannot go back to sleep.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we have, if someone wants to shift the time for their sleep, they should do it gradually, not abruptly.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you. Please allow me to explain this in bahasa Indonesia.
Okay.
Bapak Ibu, ini tadi saya tanyakan mengenai salah satu yang direkomendasikan oleh Ibnu Sina yang tadi dijelaskan oleh Profesor Ahmed, yaitu bahwa orang yang tidur ingin mengubah jadwalnya itu tidak boleh melakukannya dengan tidak boleh melakukannya dengan tiba-tiba. Nah, ternyata beliau juga mengkonfirmasi bahwa kalau seseorang itu terbiasa, misalkan tidur di malam hari, kemudian mengambil tidur siang di siang hari, terus pada suatu ketika di malam hari dia sibuk sehingga tidak bisa tidur, nah dia ingin mengganti gitu ya di siang hari, maka dia tidak akan bisa melakukan tidur yang panjang sebagaimana dia bisa melakukan itu di malam hari seperti biasanya. Karena hormon-hormon yang consolidate ya, yang mengkonsolidasikan, mengkoordinasikan tubuh kita untuk tidur itu enggak dikeluarkan, enggak disekresikan ya. Ekskresikan atau sekresikan saya mungkin kurang jelas. Itu kalau kita tidak terbiasa pada jam itu tidurnya. Sehingga kalau ekskresikan ya. Maaf kalau salah. Nah, jadi kalau kita mau mengubah kebiasaan tidur itu tidak boleh tiba-tiba. Jadi misalkan biasa tidur jam 11, itu jangan kemudian kita putuskan tiba-tiba tidur jam 9 misalkan. Karena ada 3 jam itu forbidden zone ya. Itu nggak bisa tidur kita. Nah, jadi kita perlu melakukan dengan gradually, dengan perlahan-lahan. Tapi itu soal waktu tidur. Saya tanya juga soal durasi bagaimana? Soal durasi nggak bisa. Jadi beliau menyatakan kalau durasi tidak bisa kurang dari itu, nanti nggak sehat. Terus tadi di awal saya tanya juga di ayat Al-Qur'an kan qalilan minal laili ma yahja'un, itu kan ada pujian Allah untuk orang yang qalil, sedikit ya tidurnya di malam hari gitu. Dan itu jawab beliau, kan saya tanya apa berarti tidur sedikit itu direkomendasikan, dipuji begitu. Kata beliau, ya kita melihat saja praktek dari Nabi Shallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Praktek dari Nabi, beliau ya tidak terus-terusan terjaga, tidak terus-terusan berpuasa, tapi juga tidur, tapi juga berpuasa. Kemudian poin dari beliau juga, meskipun beliau mengaku bukan syekh ya, tapi beliau mengatakan Allah memberi orang itu kemampuan yang berbeda-beda. Ada orang yang memiliki kemampuan sholat malam yang lebih tinggi, lebih kuat daripada orang lain. Sementara orang lain lebih kuat bersedekah, orang lain lebih kuat membahas ilmu seperti itu. Nah, jadi yang saya tangkap ya, ini tadi yang disampaikan Prof. Ahmad. Kemudian yang saya tangkap beliau memandang antara nas ya yang ada dalam Al-Qur'an maupun dari hadis Nabi dengan medicine, dengan kedokteran modern itu tidak bertentangan. Ya, bisa jadi ada perbedaan ya, itu terkait dengan perbedaan kemampuan orang masing-masing. Silakan kalau ada pertanyaan, mungkin dari audiens yang sudah menulis di Google Form ya. Silakan. Professor Ahmed, this is a question from the audience. What the short-term and long-term effect if we do late night sleep and wake up late just before sunrise?
This is probably similar to the shift workers. Those who do night shifts, probably this is similar to that. Or even people with what we call delayed sleep phase disorder. People with delayed sleep phase disorder, those who sleep in the daytime and wake up at night, they are more prone to have depression, and they are more like introverted, they are more isolated than people who are daytime people. For shift care workers, those who work at night always and then they sleep in the daytime, studies have shown that they are more prone to have cardiovascular problems and metabolic problems like obesity and diabetes. Of course, night shift now is part of the civilization we have. We have to work 24 hours a day in some specialties like in medicine and security, policeman and things like this, have to do around the clock. But we don't recommend that should be continuous night shift. They should change. Sometimes do night, sometimes they do daytime. even working at night in recent data have been linked to some cancer as well, some tumors, that people who stay awake at night always, they may be. But and again, I don't want to scare people, but this is not healthy. This is not healthy. Allah created people humans to sleep at night and work in the daytime, while created other mammals, for example, as we said, like for example, cats or mice, for example, to work at night and sleep in the daytime. So Allah created our bodies differently. Humans are diurnal creatures, diurnal mammals. So to work in the daytime. Start to wake up early and sleep early. Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Ahmed. So the conclusion is it's not healthy. It's not healthy. Yes. So
yeah, it is not healthy.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Aris, you have something to say about this question?
Oh no, I think I apologize with Professor.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ustadz Arief, apa mungkin ada yang bisa Ustadz sampaikan terkait pertanyaan ini? Mungkin dari aspek hukumnya atau bagaimana?
Baik, terima kasih. Jadi tadi nyambung lagi ke kanu qaulila minal laili ma yahjaun. Tadi benar disampaikan Profesor Ahmad BaHammam, itu naum lailan ya. Maksudnya tidur malam. Jadi kata-kata di bahasa Arab itu untuk tidur malam ada sendiri, tidur siang ada sendiri. Kemudian kalau malam itu huju, kalau itu panjang. Kemudian di surat Az-Zariyat kan disebutkan wa ma khalaqtul jinna wal insa illa liya'budun. Dan tadi juga disebutkan oleh Profesor BaHammam kan innal muttaqina fi jannati wa uyun di surat Az-Zariyat itu. Dan fi jannati wa uyun akhidina ma atahum rabbuhum minhum kanu qabla dzalika muhsinin kanu qalilan minal laili ma yahjaun. Jadi sifat atau karakter dari muttaqin itu diantaranya memang kanu qalilan minal laili ma yahjaun, dan untuk di sini maka sifat dari orang muttaqin itu jadi tidak menjadikan yang tidur ini merupakan, kalau dari tinjauan hukumnya adalah mubah, tapi dia bisa menjadikan mubah ini menjadi ibadah, seperti disebutkan sebelumnya tentang sahabat Muaz, ini ahtasibu naumi anam wa akum wa ahtasibu naumati wa qomati, untuk dalam rangka mendapatkan pahala gitu. Jadi dalam rangka tidur. Oleh karena itu tidur panjang kemudian bahkan melalaikan kewajiban ini yang malah tidak baik itu. Tetapi dari sisi lain tidur dan itu juga ada dispensasi. Manna ma'an sholatin falyusolliha idza dzakaraha. Jadi manusia ini memang banyak dispensasi dari Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Jadi ada 3 hal yang karena itu berkaitan dengan karakter manusia, rufi al-qalam atau dari junun, kemudian wa mastukrihu alai juga naum wa manna ma'an sholatin falyusolliha idza dzakaraha. Jadi karena itu tidak diperbolehkan. Tapi kalau sampai kemudian menyalahi, bahkan tadi disebutkan juga tidur pada asar itu tidak boleh karena bisa menyebabkan gila. Itu di antara larangannya. Naum ba'dal asr hadza nahan Nabi SAW anin naum ba'dal asr. Dan yusabbib junun atau kama qala Rasul SAW. Jadi di antara itu yang tidak boleh. Sekali lagi kembali tadi, di antara sifat muttaqin itu menjadikan bagaimana tidurnya jadi ibadah, dan tidurnya ada hak kewajiban yang dia berikan kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala atau ibadah kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Wallahu alam itu.
Jazakallah khairan. Terima kasih. Ya. Baik, itu tadi jawaban dari para narasumber kita mengenai pertanyaan ini. Mungkin ada pertanyaan yang masuk yang lain? Silakan. Professor Ahmed, this is another question. According to your explanation about circadian rhythm, if we doing night sleep with turn on the lamp, will danger for us?
About circadian rhythm, if we doing night sleep and we turn the lamp off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to have a dark room or light, low light when we sleep at night. because when there is light will affect the secretion of melatonin, which is the darkness, called the darkness hormone or the sleep hormone, because it's secreted when there is darkness. If there is light received by the eyes, the secretion will go down to 0. That's why even when we do research and we want to assess melatonin level around 24 hours, we dim the light at night. We keep it like less than 10 lux. So yes, it is recommended for better sleep to have, and there are hadith about this that I didn't show everything because of the time, because if you go to the paper, there are more details, but there is hadith, maybe Arief can, and you have to turn off fire before you go to sleep. Of course, turning fire is important because if you sleep and the fire is on, it may have a big fire. But another aspect of it, that when you turn off fire, you will have no light. So your sleep also will be better because, yeah. So yes, it's better to have a dark room, not very dark, because when people get up, they want to walk, but dim light, not bright light.
So it's recommended is around lower than 10 lux?
Yeah, 10 lux. Sometimes we keep it less than 10, less than 30. So we keep it low, dim light, if we do a research, for example, because we know that it affects melatonin secretion.
Okay, I see.
Melatonin is needed for sleep. It's called the darkness hormone,
yes.
because it is secreted only when it is dark. In light, it will not be secreted. It will be inhibited.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you very much, Professor Ahmad. Please allow me to explain this in bahasa Indonesia. Bapak Ibu, ini tadi ada pertanyaan, kalau kita tidur malam lampunya dibiarkan menyala apakah berbahaya? Nah, beliau menyatakan bahwa sebaiknya lampu itu tidak mesti dimatikan sehingga gelap gulita, tapi dibuat cahayanya itu sedikit lemah. Ya, tadi saya konfirmasi apakah di bawah 10 lux ya. Ya, beliau menyebut itu kalau sedang melakukan studi pengen tahu hormon melatonin itu, beliau mengesetnya di bawah 10 lux. Tapi yang jelas bahwa kaitan gelap ini ketika tidur itu kaitannya dengan produksi atau sekresi hormon melatonin, hormon untuk tidur ya. Itu tidak bisa disekresikan, dikeluarkan oleh tubuh kita kecuali dalam keadaan tidak ada cahaya. Sehingga perlu sekali kita menjaga ruang kita itu gelap, tidak mesti gelap gulita, sehingga mungkin kita perlu jalan tapi cahayanya lemah begitu. Dan beliau ada aspek yang sangat menarik. Beliau menyebut ada hadis Nabi yang menyuruh kita mematikan api sebelum tidur. Dari satu aspek tentu, kalau api tidak dimatikan itu bisa menimbulkan kebakaran. Tapi di aspek lain, ketika api dimatikan itu berarti tidak ada cahaya. Nah, ini beliau menunjukkan bahwa apa yang diperintahkan, disarankan Nabi SAW itu sangat-sangat bersesuaian dengan penemuan ya ilmu kedokteran modern soal hormon melatonin yang diperlukan oleh tubuh kita, dan itu hanya bisa dihasilkan dalam keadaan gelap. Baik, terima kasih. Silakan, ada pertanyaan lagi?
Can I ask question?
Okay, after this, inshallah.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Professor Ahmed, is another question. I still don't understand. Is the circadian rhythm can affect our quality of sleep, or maybe the sleep that affect the circadian rhythm?
We cannot sleep the problems. Okay. What makes us sleep are two processes called process S and process C. Process S is the homeostasis. For example, if we stay awake for a long time, then we feel sleepy even if it is not our sleep time. So if we stay awake for 24 hours and then in the daytime we'll feel very sleepy, so we have to sleep. This is called process S. And this process S, you will sleep like for 2 hours, 3 hours, just to get what your body needs, then you will wake up. Then we have another process called process C, which is the circadian rhythm. And this process C is associated with the physiological changes in the body, like increased secretion of melatonin, decreased secretion of cortisol, drop in the core body temperature by 0.5 degrees. And these changes consolidate our sleep, make us able to sleep for 8 continuous hours. So we need 2 processes to sleep. So by the time it comes at night, we have both process S because we have been awake for the whole day, and we have process C because it is our bedtime and the hormonal changes has started. So circadian rhythm is important to consolidate sleep, to make us sleep for 8 hours. Without a normal circadian rhythm, we cannot sleep for 8 hours for adults. And without a normal circadian rhythm, we cannot control our sleep, the timing of the sleep. For example, some people, they have what we call free running time. This may happen in family as genetics or in blind people. Blind, not all blind. Some blind people, they can still perceive light. Some, they don't perceive light at all. If they don't perceive light, then they can go into what we call free running. Free running meaning every day they will delay their bedtime by 1 hour. Every day 1 hour. So their timing is always changing. They cannot fix day and night because they don't perceive light. So circadian rhythm is part of sleep. It is essential part of normal sleep to have a normal circadian rhythm. It's an essential part. So if you decide to sleep in the wrong time always, then you will affect your circadian rhythm on the other hand. Like if you decide to sleep in the daytime or to make it dark in the daytime and put light in at night, then you will disturb your circadian rhythm. But circadian rhythm is essential for normal sleep and for the normal duration of sleep because it is the one that will consolidate sleep.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Ahmed. There's one brother wants to ask question by voice.
Okay.
Siapa tadi yang ingin bertanya tadi?
It's me, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, telling you frankly, I'm the one with an ease of sleep. Anytime I'm doing nothing, then it's easy for me to fall asleep. But I'm afraid that when our Prophet Nabi Muhammad SAW said that sleep is the brother of death, and so we are not suggested to be in a very long sleep. But it doesn't mean that I really want to get sleep, no matter how much sleep I've already got. But if I'm doing nothing and and at the same time maybe I'm feeling very, very sleepy, then it's easy for me to fall asleep. No matter what time it is, either at night, in the afternoon, even in the morning. Yeah, just maybe it's well, I was so joining this seminar event. I was just listening. Then it was I was fall asleep. I'm not really sure about what really happened to me. Is it good in terms of health, or just it is just a normal condition which happens to everyone with their uniqueness? So I need to get information, explanation from the professor, and also maybe anyone from the medicine, and also maybe if it is possible from the Ustaz Arief. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Abdur, I missed Dr. Abdur, I missed back because I was answering my cell phone. They're calling me for a meeting. What was the question about? Sorry.
Our brother is very easy to sleep. Very easy to fall asleep. When he's doing nothing, then he can fall asleep. So
there are some medical causes for what we call excessive daytime sleepiness or increased daytime sleepiness. The commonest cause of excessive daytime sleepiness is not getting adequate sleep at night, what we call sleep deprivation, or it's described as insufficient sleep syndrome. People are not getting enough sleep. This is the commonest cause. But there are medical causes for daytime sleepiness. One of them is sleep apnea. Sleep apnea means stopping breathing when they go to sleep, intermittent. The symptoms of that, the signs are like snoring, choking. People wake up with choking, nocturia, they have to go to the toilet several times to pass urine, wake up tired, they feel as if they haven't slept. This is one of the causes. Some medical causes like weakness of the thyroid gland, what we call hypothyroidism, for example, can cause that. Then we have some central nervous system problems, what we call central disorders of hypersomnolence. Hypersomnolence means increased sleepiness. These are also medical causes, like what we call narcolepsy. This is a medical disorder. It's an autoimmune disease, like type 1 diabetes. The body will attack certain cells in the brain, which secrete a neuroexcitatory neurotransmitter, or a neurotransmitter in the brain that causes us to wake up, called orexin or hypocretin. So the body will attack those cells in the hypothalamus, a part of the brain, and then will not be secreted. So people will be sleepy anytime they will fall asleep. They have daytime sleepiness. So there are several causes for daytime sleepiness, but the good thing that most of them are we can treat. Either by, if they have sleep apnea, we can treat sleep apnea, or we can treat by medications. So if someone has excessive daytime sleepiness, or they sleep when in places where they shouldn't sleep, like sitting with someone or talking or in a meeting, or people who drive cars while when they stop for the traffic light, they fall asleep. This is not normal. So they should visit a medical doctor who's specialized in sleep medicine. And most of the time we find the cause and we can treat them, we can help them.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Professor Ahmed. This is good news for our brothers or sisters who have this sleepiness, excessiveness in sleepiness. So unfortunately, our time is up. Now is Asar time in Indonesia, and so we have to end our discussion. And because this talk is recorded, so I hope the committee will share the link to the YouTube channel so that every one of us who wants to review this talk can watch the YouTube. Again,
yes, please, Dr. Abdurrahman. I have some colleagues, yes, my colleagues from Canada and from UK.
Oh,
they asked me for the link. So if you yes, share with me the link, then I'll share it with them, and then they can watch it. I think this is a good discussion to present like things related to Islam in a balanced way.
Yes, yes.
Modest, balanced way. We were not biased. We present what we have and the medical evidence, and we ask Allah, inshallah, this is يعني part of nashr al-ilm. As I said, some people are strong for prayer at night and fasting, and some people, Allah give them ilm, give them knowledge, and when they share it with people, this is also, inshallah, we get ajr for that. Inshallah, we get reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
MashaAllah.
Jazakallah khairan. Jazakallah khair. Thank you, Dr. Aris and Ustad Arief, and all the attendees. Jazakumullah khair jami'an.
Again, we are very grateful to you, Professor Ahmed, for coming here and share your knowledge, deep knowledge about this important topic about sleep. And thank you, Dr. Aris Prasetyo. Thank you, Al-Ustad Muhammad Arief, for your comments and discussions.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed.
Thank you. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khair.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Okay, inshallah. See you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Baik, terima kasih Pak Abdur Rohman selaku moderator, dan Prof Ahmed S. BaHammam, dan Dr. Aris, Ustaz Arief Maschun. Semoga ilmunya bermanfaat bagi kita semua. Untuk acara selanjutnya merupakan penyerahan sertifikat dan foto. Yang pertama kepada Prof Ahmed. Baik, 1, 2, 3. Sekali lagi, 1, 2, 3. Sertifikat kedua kepada Dr. Aris. Saya pandu. 1, 2, 3. Sekali lagi, 1, 2, 3.
Terima kasih.
Oke, dokter. Dan selanjutnya untuk Ustadz Arief. Saya pandu. 1, 2, 3. Sekali lagi, 1, 2, 3. Dan yang terakhir, dan yang terakhir kepada moderator. Saya pandu, 1, 2, 3. Sekali lagi, 1, 2, 3.
Terima kasih, jazakallah khairan.
Sama-sama. Baik, untuk mengabadikan acara pada hari ini, sebaiknya kita foto bersama terlebih dahulu. Untuk hadirin bisa on cam terlebih dahulu. Ayo bisa on cam. Nah, foto bersama. Saya pandu ya. 1, 2, 3. Sekali lagi. 1, 2, 3. Baik, terima kasih semuanya. Untuk acara selanjutnya merupakan doa. Doa akan dipimpin oleh Saudara Geska. Pada Saudara Geska dipersilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sebelum kita tutup acara pada siang hari ini, marilah kita tutup dengan doa bersama. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hamdan na'imin, hamdan syakirin, hamdan yuafi ni'amahu wa yukafi mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karimi wa adimi sultanik. Raditu billahi rabba wa bil islami dina wa bi Muhammadin nabiyya rasulah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma innaka ta'lamu anna hadhihi al-qulub qad ijtama'at ala mahabbatik wa iltaqat ala ta'atik wa tawahhadat ala da'watik wa ta'ahadat ala nusrati syari'atik fawaththik Allahumma rabitataha wa adim muttaha wahdiha subulaha واملأها بنورك الذي لا يخبو واشرح صدورها بفيض الإيمان بك وجميل التوكل عليك وأحييها بمعرفتك وأمتها على الشهادة في سبيلك إنك نعم المولى ونعم النصير اللهم آمين وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم آمين يا رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Terima kasih, Saudara. Iya, Dokter. Terima kasih, Dokter. Saya ingatkan, bagi peserta, jangan lupa mengisi link feedback, karena merupakan syarat untuk mendapatkan sertifikat, dan jangan lupa join QBRC ke-6. Baik, tidak terasa, kita sudah ada di penghujung acara. Sekali lagi, terima kasih kepada Prof. Ahmed S. BaHammam, Dr. Aris Prasetyo, Ustadz Arief, dan teman-teman yang sudah hadir di acara ini. Saya mewakili panitia yang bertugas, mohon maaf apabila ada kekurangan dan kesalahan. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mana ini, Pak?